You were saying earlier that going to that evangelist meeting with your mom kind of started you on your journey towards relationship with Christ. How did it proceed after that?
Well, nothing too much happened at the beginning. I wanted to keep it under wraps. I wanted to be accepted by the community. I had lots of friends whom I played football with, and my brother and I would travel with our friends, all of whom may have been nominal Christians, but most of whom did not have any desire to bring Christ into the center of their lives. So I wanted to be one of the boys. And in order to do that, I would go to the movies and do a lot of things which the Irish people thought were wrong in those days. We smoked and we participated in various things like that, which in one way might be quite innoxious, but to the evangelical Christian 50 years ago, it was obnoxious. So one night coming from the movies, about 10 o'clock, riding my bicycle the 4 miles from the nearest town to the farm, I had a very, very high hill that I needed to climb in order to reach a place where I could start riding my bicycle again. So God was working in my heart, and I wanted to make a decision one way or another. I remember I was only 12 years of age, and conviction started to grip me. I threw my bicycle by the side of the road and went into the bush. And there I prayed to God, cried out to God, and asked Him to give me the opportunity, as I understood it then, to be in a meeting where I could make a public confession of my faith, since that was the way it was done in those days. However, I carried this strong conviction of sin, the desire to be saved, intermingled with a great longing to be one of the crowd, all intermixed for the next 3 years. So at the age of 15, the day finally came while at school, as the custom was, every Friday afternoon at 3:30, for half an hour, two different religious beliefs were separated in the college. The Catholics were taken to one room with the Catholic priest, and all those who professed to be Protestant, regardless how they felt about Christ, were asked to meet in another room. That was mandatory, and speakers were invited in, and they could be nominal. We had a song, and they could do what they liked for that half hour. But when I was 15, on November the 4th, 1954, an old Methodist minister, he looked as old as Noah, but I'm sure he wasn't nearly as old as I am today. He gave a very clear-cut gospel invitation for those who would accept Jesus Christ as their personal Savior to do it now, today, to sign a piece of paper, and he would pray with us, and we would become convinced Christians. He expected us to make a public confession and profession of our faith. I did that, and he pinned a little badge on my lapel, which was an indication to everybody everywhere in Northern Ireland that I was now a born-again believer. I must tell you before I finish this part that when I went back home from school, my mother was the first to see it. She lit up and was overcome with joy to realize that her son, the only one in the family, had made a personal decision to accept Jesus Christ as his Savior. My mother and I, of course, then became very close to each other for the next 3 years before she passed away with cancer. So that was my early years, and that was my odyssey in traveling along life's pathway, struggling with fears within, struggles within, my desire to be accepted by the community, by my peers, by my friends, and by all my fellow football players. And in the end, God win, because He enabled me to see that to accept Jesus Christ as my personal Savior did not necessarily mean that I would lose out on all the good things of life, but that He would add an extra dimension to my life that I would never regret in the years to come.
Thank you.